business will bounce back soon. Stay healthy, think positive, be united. A message by Mice Affairs Media.
Good morning. Welcome to a special session powered by Mice Affairs Media. As all of us have been attending a lot of webinars and meetings, and the major crux out of this meeting is the hope on the domestic sector. So to discuss more, we have invited key panelists for today's session, starting with Mr. Himmat Anand, founder Tree of Life Resorts, Mr. Pradipto Mohapatra, Mayfair Hotels and Resorts, Mr. Mohit Sharad, Fun Hotels and Resorts, Mr. Nagendra Dubey, BST Group of Hotels, and Mr. Amit Chaudhary, ITWGU. So without wasting much time, I would like to pass on the first question on the domestic opportunities and challenges and request Mr. Himmat Anand to start the session for all of us. Over to you, Mr. Anand. Thank you so much.
Like this. And historically, if you look back, domestic tourism was always the poor cousin. Hotels, operators, everybody spoke about inbound all the time. And since the margins were so much better, outbound was the next preferred thing. Businesses are in trouble. So I think there will be liquidity of cash from the spender's point of view. That'll be one challenge for us. And the other challenge will be that given that your revenues are going to drop, your incomes are going to drop, how do you maintain the brand positioning? How do you maintain the brand expectation of your product for the customer who's coming to you for the brand you say you are? On the opportunity front, I think this is the time for us really to get away from the normal cities we've been promoting. Here's the time. Let's really get together and look at destinations. Let us look at locations. Let us look at properties which are offbeat. Give attention to those which we have ignored till now, because that is where people will want to go in times like these. I think tourism to all monuments or travel to all monuments is an absolute no-no for the next few months to come. And I definitely feel we are going to go back to basics. When I say going to go back to basics, suddenly things like going to a farm, suddenly things like tractor rides, suddenly things like bullock cart rides, all this will become very fashionable for the domestic traveler, in addition to whatever else he will do while he's away on a holiday. I mean, we at the Tree of Life already did these things in the past and continue to do it, but it was more for our inbound clients. And I now think the same product offering can be given as an opportunity for the domestic market. These are my brief inputs, and more will come as we go along.
Sure. Thanks, Himmat sir. Before I proceed to the next panelist, announcement which I want to make is please follow the audio mute. I can still hear some voices in between. So any household work you can do later on. Please do so. All right. So moving on to Mr. Anil Roy. What's your take, sir, on the same?
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing me on this panel, and great opportunity. I'm really delighted and privileged to be with all of this member to discuss on the domestic tourism. Selling India to Indians was always my dream, and I always believe that India is a destination which can give you all kind of holiday. Just dream for it, and it will definitely provide. But according to me, the post-COVID world international travel for leisure will drop substantially, at least for at least 8 to 9 months. Things becomes okay. Domestic travel, therefore, has the opportunity to grow. However, domestic travel, India faces considerable challenges, particularly with the infrastructure, cost. But everybody picks up their market share. That is definitely there. Whether they do it, leisure travel depends on the state economy, which everybody is aware of. It is expected to depress initially. It's a very short while. For short time, we'll again come back. You say you strive, you thrive, and you definitely be on your market. And domestic will be the biggest savior for everybody, which I believe in. To start with domestic travel, we should start with economical packages, the value packages for the people. What will people buy? People have got time, don't have time now. They have already spent the quality time with your family initially. And what will start with visiting friends and relatives, and weekend breaks will start, quick getaways, hill station, and the regional travel will initially break till the state boundaries are closed. What I feel, if I give a package for example, a 4 to 5 star hotel, which was worth 10,000 rupees as an ARR, if I'm able to give them a 5,000 with a value add-on, people will definitely buy. Ready-made packages will definitely work for hill station and quick getaways. And what I feel most important is that people will go for one-nighters, two-nighters, three-nighters after the fear and the confidence comes into them in domestic tourism. which will start. Deluxe and luxury product, according to me, should be promoted to large MNCs and corporates who should be encouraged to avail this as a national duty in helping jumpstart the travel industry. This is what is my take on the domestic, how we can start and what are the kind of products which we can push. Definitely, sustainable travel will definitely come and with the carbon budgeting. But when people have been talking about ecotourism, this country is not geared up. We still need luxury. We need good food. We need good rooms. We need good sanitization. All that is required when you start domestic tourism. There are few challenges, but I think so it is very easy to look into it because everybody's focus will be to push domestic tourism. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roy, for your inputs. And before I proceed to other panelist from the hotel industry, I would like to take a quick bite from Mr. Amit Chaudhary from ITWGO. So Amit, you are from outbound industry. You have been selling outbound since ages, I would say. I mean, 20 years. I know that you are into this industry. So what is your take? What's happening in the outbound industry when there's a word coming on the domestic tourism and opportunities? What is your reaction? The industry, how they are taking this forward? Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Just to correlate domestic tourism with the outbound MICE. There has been always a second thought in everybody who is doing MICE that instead of doing a domestic product, like I agree to Mr. Himmat Anand what he said, that margins are higher in outbound. Margins are high in outbound because the value for money, what you're getting in selling outbound, people haven't seen that value in domestic tourism. And most of the time, the important places like the places of tourist interest, wherein a lot of inbound traffic is there. So whenever you try to do a MICE group over there, there always issue of availabilities, let it be airlines, let it be hotel rooms, let it be the convention centers or whatever. So instead of that, like for example, if you're selling a package to a MICE package to any destination, say for example, Jaipur, in say winters. So the package price will go much higher than what you are trying to do in Thailand in the same price with better facilities and better value for money in terms of the like if you talk about corporates, they are getting a better value for the money spent on the total event. So there are always been challenges, but yes, there has been an inclination in last few years towards domestic tourism as well. Because even now, if you ask me, a lot of corporates are falling short of destinations when they're talking about outbound. So now they are coming back to the roots again. So they have started exploring a lot of MICE opportunities within India. But looking at current situation, I don't know how long and what and how we will come out of it. When we come out of it, yes, it will be a totally different world altogether. And as Mr. Anand and Mr. Raya correctly said, that yes, domestic is going to be a savior when we strike back after this epidemic.
All right, thanks, Amit. Now let's take some views from Mr. Mohapatra. Mr. Mohapatra from Mayfair Hotels and Resorts. So over to you, Mr. Mohapatra, for your valuable comments.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Sachin. I fully agree with Mr. Anand, whatever he said. But before I start, I would like to put forward some statistics in front of the audience. According to WTTC, the tourism industry generates around 17 lakh crore revenue with a GDP contribution of 9.2% to the Indian GDP. And also it generates around 45 million jobs, which is around 8% of total employment. Okay, this is as for WTTC. And now with this pandemic, which has actually hit the entire industry very hard, so we are going to lose somewhere around 5 lakhs crore revenue. So which is going to be a big revenue loss as far as hotel and tourism industry are concerned. Having said that, I would like to again put forward some statistics. Whatever the tourism industry right now in India, it is only because of the contribution of domestic tourism. You know, at present, it contributes 1.85 billion domestic tourists who traveled across India from India only. Whereas it is quite minimal as far as the tourist traveling outbound from India, the tourists, there are around 26 billion tourists who are traveling in a year from India to abroad. Similarly, there is around 10.5 million tourists who are coming to India from foreign countries, which is very less as far as the domestic tourism is concerned in India, which is itself close to 2 billion tourists. So I don't think we will have any challenges as far as if supposing, let's say, the inbound tourists stop coming to India. But again, how far we are going to save this domestic tourists is a matter of concern. So out of this 1.85 billion domestic tourists, do you think everybody are going to travel? No, I don't think everybody are going to travel. So it is going to be a big challenge for us. That is how we are going to see there is a huge drop of revenue expected as far as hospitality and tourism is concerned. So that is my take. So we are definitely going to have a lot of challenge as far as saving the industry is concerned, saving the tourist is concerned, as far as the domestic tourists for which all the states have boomed as far as tourism is concerned. So that's my biggest challenge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. So now another views from Mohit. I would like to move to Mohit from Fun Hotels. So Mohit, what is your feeling? What is your gut feeling on the opportunities and challenges which domestic might be having? What do you
see? Being the fifth panelist, you lose most of your points to others when you begin. So I won't continue and speak the same points. And what I feel is, in the present scenario, everyone knows that domestic will boom, outbound travel will remain in the country, and so on. So if you talk about the challenge, the real challenge won't be to get business, because that will come automatically to you. But the real challenge will be to handle this business and to retain this business. Now, I will just speak on the main challenge which I feel you will get initially when your lockdowns and everything will be over. Here we are not talking about a normal domestic traveler anymore. We are talking about a domestic cautious traveler who's cautious about his health and safety, who's cautious on the hygiene of the place where he's going, who is cautious about the services he's using. And this domestic cautious traveler will be very, very good observer now. He will observe everything. He won't neglect anything at all. He won't compromise on anything, thinking that this is India or yahan to yahi chalta hai. So even if your staff in a hotel, or in a restaurant, or in an airlines, or even in a travel agency where he went for a consultation is not wearing a mask, this traveler will be observing you very, very closely. So what I feel is the real challenge will not be the pricing initially to start with. The real challenging will be how to stay hygienic and how to be perfect as to the expectation of this traveler. Apart from normal challenges, which is infra, limited flights, road connectivity, this domestic travel is already knowing this all about. So the real challenge will be to get into the expectation of this traveler, who will be very cautious to start with, and eventually he will grow. On the other hand, if you see the opportunities, again, this domestic cautious traveler will be very loyal to you as well. He will not change when you gain his trust in you. So be it a travel agent, a brand, a standalone hotel, if he trusts you, he will stay with you for very long. So we do not want this outbound traveler to stay with us for a few months. You want him to be with you for a few years. So that we should target more. So I think there is a huge opportunity. There is huge opportunity for a domestic tour operator as well. We are seeing an online front increasing every year. In hotels, the online is increased to 40-60%. There is a huge scope that online also get converted into, is routed through a travel agent now. So there is huge opportunity everywhere, and the challenge remains the pricing. Everything can be dealt with in a later stage, or it will be dealt automatically as the market grows. The challenge will be how you make this traveler comfortable.
Okay. Thanks, Mohit, for the additional inputs, I would say. So moving on to last panelist, I think Nagendra, if you can add on something to the same.
Yeah, definitely, Sachinji. It was a very good conversation, and a lot of inputs comes from every panelist. But beside this, we just want to start with the going back to the basic and just encourage the tourism with India and within India. That should be our motto for the next couple of years, because tourism industry always, something which was neglected. People focus more over into the inbound segment, more over into the other segments which makes a large revenue. But as this COVID impact is very big and it is going to impact on all over the world, so I'm very much sure that we have to switch. We have to switch. This is the only thing which is left with us. So domestic tourism is all about the reference business, and where people, advise you that this is the destination where you should go and explore this destination, and that destination always come with the trust, with the safety, with the experience. So we have to develop that experience with the people, with the travel agents, with the people who are promoting that destination, and also in meanwhile we have to understand this thing which is very much important, to provide the proper hygiene things, proper sanitization, and everything should be as per the parameters of the hygiene factor. That is very much required now, because once we break this chain, people will again, they will put a lot of questions to this market also, and it is going to create a very bad impact in the future. So we must understand that getting business is something, but providing that kind of safety and security to our traveler, that is also very much important to get back that business in our portfolio. So this is all about which I want to add.
Sure, thanks, Nagendra. So I think Mohit has just mentioned the first point. I'll take it from there only, that infrastructure in domestic. So before jumping into that question, I'll just give you a brief. Last week around, we did one session with the corporate buyers. We invited 6 corporate, the marketing heads and the commercial guys. So we did a session with them to discuss what's going on in their mind, what is their planning post COVID for their corporate groups. Mostly they were doing the outbound and a bit of domestic. So they said the only choice with them is now the domestic travel. But what is worrying them was the infrastructure, because they were saying I had a group of 1000 and 1500 packs in one go, and I don't think I can do this at any place in India. So that was very a question which was very discussed in detail during that session. I have a clipping, I can share it with you later on. So the question is still coming to the same point of infrastructure. So are we infrastructure ready as far as the domestic tourism is concerned? So over to Mr. Himmat Anand for this particular question.
So, I mean, to say that India can't handle groups for 1,000 people is incorrect. I think there is enough capacity within the country. The issue today is, I think we have to look at it short term and then in the long term. In the short term, space is and crowds is something which people will stay away from. So you can anyway write off all these 1,000 people meetings. All that will not happen, I think, for the next 6 to 8 months. Because whenever people travel today, like has already been said, the first question they will ask is how safe I am. They will not ask you about the hotels. They will not ask you about what star category, etc., etc. They're going to ask you how safe I am. And my gut feel is that hotels which are in the city centers, hotels which have a very large inventory of rooms, are the ones which are going to find it very difficult to sustain themselves, because people will not go to these crowded places. So you'll have to put off all these big movements, these large weddings and all of this what you're having. I think for the next 6-8 months, we can forget these. Once it goes forward, and I think India is a very resilient country, our memories are very short here. We tend to forget soon. So my gut feel is that by January, February next year, March next year, provided we keep all the safety standards where they are, these big movements can of course happen. We have weddings today which are 1,000 people, 1,500 people, 2,000 people, and it's easily manageable in the country. What we didn't have earlier was good convention centers. In the last 2-3 years, some very good convention centers have also come in. So for the MICE segment, I think there is an upswing there also with hotel support. So yeah, I think it's manageable to do these large numbers, but not in the near future. not for 6 to 8 months.
All right, thank you, sir. So I'll take a quick bite from Amit. Amit was present in that session with corporates, I think. So how would you react to, this statement of handling large groups? So over to you, Amit. Amit, I think you need to unmute.
Am I audible now? Sorry. Yeah. So Sachin, as Mr. Anand correctly said, all these big groups and weddings kind of things will take a backstage till maybe first quarter of next financial year. And as the corporates were also saying that day in our last session, these big groups will not happen. Yes, there will be groups happening, and it will initially start first with corporate travels, and then will be domestic travel on an individual basis, not the groups. Groups will come at a later stage, yes, but as and when the market opens, once things start stabilizing in, the travel will start in domestic individual travelers. Everybody wants to stay with the family, so they will be going with the family. But again, that won't be a long thing, like people staying in north, going to south, people staying in south, coming to north. It will be shorter duration travels, like maybe within state or maybe state next to that state. For example, people staying in Maharashtra can maybe maximum plan to within Maharashtra, Goa, or maybe to Gujarat. People will be very cautious traveling a longer distance with the family or individually, at least till the year end, or at least till the time there is a vaccine which is at place and people know if something happens. Yes. So this is at current situation, nobody can predict anything. Yes, everybody, all of us are sharing our views, what we think about the industry, and we are sharing our views how the industry might behave after we come out of this pandemic. But yes, initially when we come out of it, it will start with the individual travelers in domestic, and then comes the groups in domestic, and the outbound travel will be the last thing to start.
Sure. Thank you, Amit. So moving on to Mr. Anil Roy for his views on the same. Over to you, Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, you need to unmute.
Is this fine? Can you,
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yes.
Just to say that if you ask about this MICE is definitely, there are a lot of destinations in this country where we can take these big groups, and we have done recently group before this pandemic happened. It happened in majorly metros and tier 2 cities also, it's possible. But if you say the domestic pan-India, if we are ready to take this size of people, it becomes really difficult that we cannot take this size of people for MICE movements currently. But domestic highlight will in India will now cannot replace the aspirational allure or the quality of an international holiday. But domestic, why domestic in India is it's low cost, easily accessible, easily available. We can reach safely. The quality of services, the quality of hotel provided over here in this country is very good. And MICE in India also, you can make good amount of money over here. That is what my take on domestic MICE.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roy. Now moving on to Mr. Mohapatra. Mr. Mohapatra, what do you think? I mean, I have visited some of your properties in Northeast a few months back only, and very nice hotels and all. So, what do you think? Getting groups, is it feasible? I mean, if a corporate is approaching you for a big wedding, so what is your take? How to handle such request, and will it be feasible to you? Yeah.
This current scenario, I don't think that kind of movement is going to take place. In fact, I fully agree with Mr. Anand. In fact, we have the adequate infrastructure to handle big groups. In fact, currently we are handling 2 billion tourists, domestic tourists, apart from the outbound and inbound. But at this present, we will not, this scenario, we will not get that kind of tourist. So as far as infrastructure is concerned, yes, we have adequate infrastructure and we can take care of the demand which is going to come from the outbound movement. So that is one part. But again, how far we are going to get those kind of tourists, and how conducive it is going to they cater to those tourists. So that is something we'll have to wait and watch. But now, you see, this infrastructure is also an issue in some part of our country. In fact, in the metros, we have adequate hotel rooms. Okay, so large groups, large weddings can be easily accommodated. Okay, so without without having any demand or without having any surge in price. But again, if you take Goa and Kerala, combining this Goa and Kerala, it has got more than 800 hotel rooms. Whereas in eastern part of India, in northeastern part of India, and put together the West Bengal, Odisha, northeastern part of India, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh, so we have only 250 classified hotels available in this part of India. For example, I will take the example of Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar of late had started getting the large MICE groups in terms of doctors' conferences. There are doctors' conferences which were happening of around 6,000 to 7,000 doctors who were coming in to the city. Whenever they come to this city, there is a real surge of rooms here. In fact, you see the small guest houses also selling 10,000 rupees. So that is where the infrastructure comes in place. So in the places like the B class cities or 2-tier cities, so we need to look at creating the infrastructure, because these are the cities which is going to see a lot of potential in days to come. And also the connectivities to these 3-tier, 2-tier, 3-tier cities is a problem. So in fact, you see, you have the connectivity of railway, but again, the air connectivity is a major issue. And also the shortage of guides. In fact, the Travel Agent Association of Odisha and the North Bengal, they always complain about the shortage of the guides. Whenever there is a peak season, whenever some tourist movement takes place to this part of India, so you have a shortage of guides. So this is something we'll have to look at in days to come. And the upkeep of the tourism places. Now it is very important for all of us to have, in fact, you see, it is the responsibility of the government also to maintain the tourism sites spick and span, and they'll have to put maximum emphasis to the tourism sites as to how they can take care of the safety and hygiene of the visitors who are going to visit. So these are some infrastructure issues we need to look forward in days to come. And as far as infrastructure is concerned, as far as the hotel rooms and all, so we are well equipped, and I don't think we have any problem in that.
Okay, thank you, Mohapatra ji. So moving on to next, Mohit, you have some points to add on, please?
See, we are talking about 3 kind of a traveler. So if we talk about a FIT, which is a normal traveler, I think India is tuned to him. There is no infrastructure problem at all. And if we talk about small groups, they will not happen all of a sudden. And MICE, we are talking about MICE, huge groups of 5,000, 6,000 people. So it will take some time. And I am quite optimistic on everything with the demand supply will also push. So you won't get a problem initially. There will be some hiccups, but we are talking about domestic tourism, guys. So we are dealing with an Indian. So the Indian expectation is not that far that I feel that we need to be concerned and need to be up to the mark. But again, I think we should be optimistic and we can do it. It's only about providing the best so that we can sustain it. I don't think infrastructure will be a very big issue. Yeah, it will be, but we can address it because we will have that time in frame in hand to address it.
Okay, thanks, Mohit. Well said. So, Mr. Nagendra Dubey ji.
My point is basically, infrastructure-wise, we are very much sure that India have got all the essential things which is required to get and cater that business. But the second thing, which is a concern, is currently we should encourage drive holidays. That is the something which is need of the hour, because people can travel by roads and and they can easily assess either by the Volvo or either by the anything which is required. But cater to such a big movement like from the by the airlines or by the railway tourism. So that is something which is a concern, and it will take some time to get the confidence back in the traveler. So MICE wise, I'm very much sure that it will happen, because as Mohit already said that India is very optimistic, and people love to travel and love to explore, but it will take certainly some time. So right now we should encourage drive holidays, which should be a good thing to get back to business.
All right.
This is the point.
Sure. Thanks, Nagendraji. So, from your points, one thing which is coming up is usage of public transport for travel. So, I was talking to one of my friend yesterday. He is from Noida and stuck in Banaras for some time. So he was planning, once this lockdown is open for a day or so, even if the transport is open, so he was planning, I have not got my car, so I'm going to hire a car and come back to Noida and not use the, the trains or maybe Volvo buses, even if they are open. So that is, how clients are going to behave. This is what I think. So anyways, moving on to the next question. Now everyone is planning to enter domestic. This is what everyone is guessing. So be it outbound operator, be it the domestic and the MICE operators. So everybody is eyeing this piece of business. So what do you think? There will be more demand for this domestic travel, and how we are gonna manage this equation? So would request Mr. Anand to share some knowledge on the same.
Right, can you hear? Yeah, okay. So let me just look at the demand and supply situation. When Modi ji came on television about 5 weeks back, he said this is a war-like situation for the country. And I think we in our businesses have to have the same sentiment when we are addressing demand and supply. We have to go and create demand. I've been hearing a lot of moaning and groaning happening in this industry, all this waiting for government support to happen. It is in our hands to see how we create the demand, how we handle our client. I've also seen some mails coming out in the last 2-3 weeks from some hoteliers where they are offering the regular ones which are beaten to death, stay for 2 nights, get 1 free, get 15% discount. If this is the way we're going to tackle the situation, then these hoteliers honestly should just stay in their properties and play gulli danda with the staff, because you will get nothing happening for your business. You have to think so much more out of the box. You have to take these challenges head on and let's share ideas. For example, we've just started a program called #SomeMeTime. Now, my thinking is that since couples have been together for so long, for the last 5, 6, 7 weeks, I think there will be a sentiment happening where they actually want to travel independently on their own. They said, like, boss, enough with you. Ab main ja rahi hu 5 din ke liye apne aap. Now, SomeMeTime is the segment where we have to then offer packages made for the single traveler at a really discounted price to get the market moving quickly. I think what we really need to do is get that feel-good factor back into our business as quickly as we can. That is the only saving grace. If we keep moaning and groaning, so then time will pass and it'll never happen. As hoteliers, let us please put ARRs and occupancy percentages on the back next 2, 3, 4 months. It will make no sense to you if you sit with that Excel spreadsheet of yours and try and map your occupancy and try and map your ARRs. It is not going to work. I think you have to just get your guests back, whatever the price point may be. And yes, there will be a bloodbath to begin with. There is no doubt in my mind, because business is not going to come back the day the lockdown is closed. It will take time to come back. You have to get back the feel-good factor into the market. People have to look at their finances. So that's where I think, much as there is a demand, how do we get that feel-good factor back into the industry? That really depends on us. I have one suggestion which I think maybe the ministry should take and we in the industry should take. And that is about a feeling of guilt campaign. Now, let me tell you what is my thought on this feeling of guilt campaign. Indians are very emotional people, as people. और हम मोदी जी को गाली देते रहेंगे, सरकार ये नहीं करती, वो नहीं करती, Facebook पे we'll go and write whatever we want to write. But when push comes to shove, this whole country stands by each other amazingly, and I've seen that happen ever so often in the past. Now, here is a campaign which we should start doing amongst ourselves as trade, and I'm just using the term feel guilty campaign, is actually where you're now encouraging people to stay within the country. We have to say that we have to share that sense of responsibility with each other and share our travel, our expenses, everything within the country and not overseas. Look at the fact that there are about 2 million travelers which would have gone in the outbound space within this 3-4 months. 2 million. They are now within the country, having nowhere to go. And I don't want to write out outbound tours, but I think outbound tours is going to have a long gap before it really comes back. I mean, one has to question the survival of airlines. How many airlines are going to survive after 4 or 5 months if there are no government bailouts? So here is this 2 million additional capacity we have in addition to the domestic traveler, which is already there. We know that the outbound travel was normally between 7 and 10 days on an average, and they had amazing paying capacity. That's why they could afford to go overseas. In that same money, these outbound travelers can now do at least 2 or 3 holidays within India of 4 days, 5 days, shorter trips at a much cheaper cost. It is now for us to see how do we convey to them that India is the place to travel in, and outbound will happen, I think, only by December, January next year. So it is my request to all the wholesalers, all the travel agents who've been in the outbound space, let's work together with us hoteliers. Let's create packages which you think your client is going to bite, and let's make tailor-made things for that outbound market. You know, whenever you've seen such in any state presentation, all our states always say, we have this, we have that, we have everything, we have mountains, we have beaches, we have sand, we have everything. Now is the time to prove yourselves. If you really have this everything, how about converting these 2 million people who are there to become your guests in your state? I mean, we can't make India a Thailand. Yes, we can't. But India has so much more to offer. And it is now in our hands to see, on a war footing, how do I convert these 2 million people I know who are sitting there wanting to get out at the right time and convert them into domestic travelers?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Anand. I think very well said. Very few points are quite informative. So we'll move on to Amit Chaudhary. Amit, what's your take on the demand and supply equation from that outbound perspective?
See, Sachin, the demand for outbound, of course, it's going to have a severe downfall. As I have told initially, and even Mr. Anand also said that, it's not going to start till the beginning of next year. There are no chances that outbound will start before that. But yes, domestic, the demand is going to increase once things come back to normal. But again, these demands, as I told you initially, it will start with the individual travelers first. As Nagendra also said, that the drive holidays, where a family can drive, where they're not worried about the public transportation. So that's how the travel will start, and slowly, it will. See, lockdown will happen for India, but for travel, the lockdown will happen in phases. The first will be the individual travelers, then comes the domestic groups. It can be MICE, it can be family groups, or it can be anything. And then the outbound start. But yes, domestic MICE is going to see a boom once things come back to normal. Demand is going to be more. I don't know, supply. Initially, yes, the current and it's a followers market. When they see a lot of people are traveling, so everybody plans to travel. Even the corporate houses, they say, okay, now people are traveling, we should at least start with the domestic MICE. Initially, supply will be fine, but when, like if say the outbound is delayed for maybe a couple of months, because we don't know how the other countries will react and how the lockdowns will happen in the other countries. Because if you see currently, many countries are increasing the lockdown. Like, for example, Singapore is the first one to extend the lockdown till June. So we don't know how the demand will come. It's yes, the demand will be there, but it's very difficult to put it on a file or to put it on a chart right now, how much the demand would be. But yes, slowly the demand will increase for domestic MICE, looking at the current scenario once we open up.
Sure.
And, yeah.
Please continue. I'm sorry.
So also it also depends upon how the hotels hotels will react to it. See, everybody is saying that the travelers will be very cautious about traveling. So the basic necessity of sanitization, I don't know how social distancing will work in the hotels when they're traveling. Like if we talk about social distancing in airlines are saying they will fly even half the capacity. Like they will have gap between the seats. The travelers, they will have a gap of a seat or two between them. But how the hotels will do? Will they have a gap of 2 rooms? It's very, I don't know, maybe Pradeepta or Mr. Anand or Nagendra, they will be the right person to answer this question, how social distancing will happen in the hotels. So this demand will be based on so many factors. There can't be a simple criteria. Yes, demand will go up. Demand has to go up, but slowly and slowly. So how the things fall at place once we come out of this pandemic, that will be the time when everybody will be able to quantify what the demand is and what the supply is. But yes, initially, just to create the demand, we have to be careful about these things: social distancing, sanitization, and safety issues, which are going to play a very important role for Indian people to start traveling again.
Sure. Thanks, Amit. And I think the international travel is more dependent on the international borders. Once they are open, then only people can even think of traveling. So that would be a later stage. And he was moving on to Mr. Roy for his valuable comments. Over to you, Mr. Roy.
I very much agree with what Mr. Himmat sir has said, that regarding the managing demand and supply equation in this country. See, we are talking about domestic tourism, according to me. The challenge will be generating demand initially. There is a fear, the behavioral change on people. How do you basically change that? The price is the best way to basically bring them on board. They will have money, but they will have no time to travel. How do I encourage them to travel? As I said earlier also, it will be one-nighter, two-nighters, the value packages, cost-centric products, strategy has to be designed around that. Supply will be a constraint, will not be a constraint, I'm saying, in the post-COVID 2019 situation. There'll be enough supply. And how do you basically encourage them to travel? That putting our house in order, we have to come together, do joint promotion with the hotel industry, give them a value package, and pull them with a lot of value add-ons. Indians are very much focused on food, which is one thing very well required. And we have to give them a lot of values over there also. That's what I feel. How do you control your cost? That also becomes a big challenge when there is there is enough of supply and less of demand. So these are the things basically you have to keep in mind, that give value packages, do joint promotions. The government of India, the national leaders, tourism boards have to come out with a campaign to promote state-wise destinations and tell what different are they doing. That will attract people, which has been lacking from a very long time in this country, at least, till you approach them for some joint promotions. So there is definitely supply, but demand has to be created by doing all these activities. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Roy. So I think the collaboration and cooperation is the key going forward. So moving on to Mr. Mohapatra for his inputs.
Yeah, in fact, all our hotels are in tourism destinations, and we survive on tourist only and largely in domestic with the help of domestic tourists. So it is definitely going to be a big setback for us. As far as supply is concerned, it is going to be more of supply, less of demand. So yeah, in fact, we need to get back to our loyal customers. We need to get back to our regular customers and give them a confidence, saying that we will follow the highest standard of safety and sanitization, so for which we have also come up with a guidelines which is already issued to all our resorts, and the staff are also getting trained on all those guidelines. So that work we have already started. As Mr. Anand said, I mean, immediately you cannot, you simply cannot slash down your rate or offer complimentary stays. That is not the correct way to handle the current scenario. But yes, you will have to have the best of the guest experience and the value addition whenever they come back to your resorts. So we are at present in a process to issue the guidelines to all our staff, and we are following whatever guidelines we have received from the government, and we look forward to it. In fact, it is quite a challenging days, and we just look forward to it.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. Moving on to Mohit. Mohit, what's your take on the demand and supply equation?
See, right now we are in an environment of uncertainty. So talking about demand, I don't know what demand will be there in May, what demand will be there in June. Maybe the lockdown opens or it may not even open. So demand, and once it's open, I don't think price will be a big factor to get this demand in. The more will be the hygiene, the package which we introduce, the features which we increase, what knowledge and education we are parting through those packages will be a major key. So reducing price or getting a price to sell lesser will not attract the domestic tour operator in any case. Having said that, when you open up after this lockdown, the demand won't rise all of a sudden. You won't get a boom. So there is no point of a shortage of supply. So you will get a demand. It will steadily improve, and you can always add on the supply. And I think we can easily do it. It's not a big challenge to meet up the demand supply equation. Right now, we should focus on more of demand of a customer, what he's looking at towards the hygiene part rather than, anything else, what I feel.
Sure. Thanks, Mohit. So before we move on to further, I could see someone has written in the chat box. So allow me to take this question in between. Sorry for that. So they say, actually, we are not talking about the ways to tackle the current situation. We are hardly talking about the economical difficulty our staffs are facing. With many medium-sized agencies curtailing the staff strength, that means we already have a lot of layoffs happening. How do we save them? And millions of households dependent on the travel and tourism industry. We being entrepreneurs can pass this time. So things like that. So any of the panelists would like to take this question in between?
Should I?
Yeah, please, Mr. Anand, over to you.
Right. I think these are emotional times for everybody, but I think with emotion, you have to have practicality also. My first take is that I've seen industry clamoring to the government for support. Now, the reality is that the government is not going to help you. Not because they can't help you, but I think they have just too many other priorities of their own. So if anybody is thinking that the government is going to come in and give you funding and stuff like that to run your business, please forget it. It will not happen. Right? That's point number one. I think what the government can do is, which it is still not doing, unfortunately, is to give us subsidies in terms of GST delayed payments. Just help us through in delaying our payments. Let our cash flow happen. Right now, it's only about cash flow for the next 2, 3, 4 months at least. So one is, let's not look at government support. We all have to do it ourselves. 2, I think layoffs, salary cuts are a given in this time. We've never had a crisis like this in the country. So I think it'll be very naive to think that people will not be laid off, jobs will not be gone. I think in the hotel industry, probably 40% of the staff will lose their job in the next 3 months. That is my estimate, no matter when the lockdown is taken off. And they will come back then by September, October, slowly. Now, how you do it, what you do, depends on, I think, the compassion level of management companies. And it depends on how deep your pocket is. Because at the end of the day, there's only that much you can do with your money. So I think the idea is right now, and that's what we're doing at the Tree of Life, we are paying our people in April just how much is enough for you to survive. That is what my objective is in April, May, and June. I have to take you through survival. That is what this is all about. And I still feel, much as I've heard that the business will not pick up quick and stuff like that, I'm very optimistic, honestly, that by come July, you will have driving holidays, driving leisure holidays starting off pretty quickly. I mean, you'll have the Punjabis, you'll have the Gujaratis, they're just going to take off in their cars, and the car is going to be your safety net. I'm banking, putting my money on the self-drive holidays, which are going to happen as early as July. Maybe just weekends first. And like all the panelists said, short trips are going to happen. And I think driving holidays are the way forward. That'll be followed then by flight leisure holidays, which probably will happen only by August, September, not before that. But I don't think it's really doomsday. Our strength lies in the huge numbers which we have. Now, how do we motivate them to move? That is in our hands as individual entrepreneurs, as individual companies. And please be ready for very difficult times in terms of layoffs and salary cuts. That's a given, unfortunately.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Anand. Anyone else who wants to comment on the same? Mr. Roy, can we have your take on this?
Hey, what I feel is that what Mr. Himmat sir has said is absolutely right. There'll be salary cut because we never had the reserves. We never even thought about the disaster happening. And cash is the key. Cash is going to be the king for the coming years. And what we have been saying, and man is a social animal and he will definitely travel whenever required. And people will start traveling as soon as this has been lifted, but it will be a weekend drive, getting into their own cars, safety measures will be done, short travels will happen, all this. But salary cuts are definitely going to happen. The survival is one thing which the companies are really looking into it for long term. But if you're looking for a complete salary, then it is just for a short term. How do you, till you get the money in, how you're going to spend from your pocket? That is what every promoter is looking into. And if you're looking for long term, you have to definitely look into all these measures to make sure your staff is retained, sustainability is there, and this will only happen till if you're ready to accept what they are looking for.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Roy. So, anyone else who wants to take, or shall we move to the our session only?
Yes, Sachin. Yeah, that day we were in a meeting with the Industry and Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, and Mr. Prahlad Singh, our Tourism Minister, which was organized by FICCI. In fact, there are a whole lot of demand which was placed in front of both of them. They have taken it. They have noted down everything, and hopefully something will happen. But a simple sentence which was told by Mr. Piyush Goyal, he said the current priority for government is health and agriculture. So they will focus on health and agriculture, and tourism is not there in the priority. So I don't think we should expect anything from the government, but yeah, we should be optimistic and hope for the best.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. So continuing with our session as planned. So the question next is in line is the best practices to be followed post COVID to regain the trust of your guests and travelers, and maybe the travel compliances requirement. So starting with Mr. Anand again. Sorry to bother you, sir.
Always a pleasure. I think in hospitality, let me just look at the hospitality angle first. Hotels will have to walk that very fine balance between hospital and hospitality. What do I mean by this? Hospitality is all about feel-good factor. People want to come to you for feeling good, feeling happy. At the same time, I think the controls and the tests and the checks which we have to do now, some of which will be mandatory, borderline on hospital treatment. So the challenge for hotels is, how can I take care of your safety as a guest, which is your prime concern? And how can I at the same time deliver that environment, feeling, emotion of fun and happiness to you? That's one. Where I see things changing is, I think hotel procedures are going to change dramatically for us. We would have to probably sanitizers and masks are going to be in-room amenities for givens now, just like shampoo and toiletries are there, sanitizers and gas masks are given. This welcome which hotels continue doing, and we've been doing it, that famous Gende ka phool, mala aur jo hum karte hain saalon se, 30 saalon se, probably that will go, and you may have face masks, designer face masks as the welcome kit. I don't know. Will hotels have to change their menus? I mean, buffets, please count out for the next 4, 5, 6 months, you won't have guests standing in front of buffets. No way. So will this mean more increased in-room dining? If it does, do I need to change my menu? Do I need to train my staff and get ready more for in-room dining? Restaurant spacing is a given. How do I deal with guests when I have to serve on the table? How does my spa function, if it can function at all? What are the wellness? I mean, elevators, these large hotels who have elevators, how are guests going to go up and down? So these are questions which industry is answering, and there's not enough time to go through all of them. But yes, I think industry is very aware of all what is going on. And this is what hotels will have to do. Like I said before, I think the Ministry of Tourism and the state tourism bodies must come together and start doing advertising in print and in media of creating a feel-good factor. India, I think when you compare it to other countries, is still pretty well off. Whether we are reporting correctly, all that is all debatable. But the fact of the matter is that given our size and given our challenges, this virus is still pretty much under control. And hopefully in the next month, 2 months, it hopefully will start diminishing. So I think next month onwards is the time where let the state governments first start. So somebody asked, how do we create the market? I mean, market is created by us as individual companies and by state governments who will now have to start advertising not their monuments, but who will have to start advertising their open spaces, the wildlife parks and stuff like that, the mountains, part of adventure tourism. Can we get all that quickly off the ground, which makes the guest feel safe? So this is, I think, some of the things which one will need to do. And to regain trust of the traveler, put in the statutory things in place, make him feel safe, make him feel happy. And for God's sake, let us, all of us, be optimistic, please, about the future. Because if we ourselves feel defeated, you're going to reflect that on your client also. And he's not going to be a very happy client who's going to travel. So let us have the confidence in ourselves. I firmly believe that hotels which are outside city centers, hotels which have small inventories, hotels which have large open spaces, those are the sort of hotels which will come back much quicker. And I'm very optimistic for that segment of business to come back much quicker than, unfortunately, the city center hotels who have 100, 200 rooms. They will still face a challenge. But I think the smaller hotels outside cities will come back definitely much quicker. Thank you, Sachin.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. So I'm still imagining that fact that getting sanitizers and masks in the room amenities. Good point. Yeah, thank you. So moving on to Mohit from Fern Hotels. Mohit, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, over to you.
Yeah, so see, when you talk about the practices which will be followed, I think government itself will come into the act first. So they will get some guidelines which a hotel has to follow to start with. And then after that, the hotel has to build up his own SOPs, how to handle a guest. Not even a guest, we are also concerned about our own staff, which is equally important. So I feel all hotels right now are already working on SOPs for the future. We at Fern Hotels are already started making these SOPs and we'll be sharing with our with all communities in future. The most important part will be, as Mr. Anand said, how you make this traveler comfortable. So you have to educate him what a hotel is doing. So first you have to build an SOP, then SOP needs to be executed properly. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know where to put the sanitizer. We don't know the cost of a sanitizer being placed in a room. So it will be too early to go into all this. Rather, we will stick to what the government says and the SOPs which we make right now. And then we follow it and we want the help of our industry to build it up in a very nice package to show to the customer, which makes him knowledgeable that what this hotel is offering, what SOPs are being laid, and make him comfortable to travel, what I feel. You know, this domestic travel will be very important for us. In future, everything will change. Even the booking scenario will change. You may not find a majority of online traveler going, what we were doing before was just going to a portal and booking a room. Things may change very quickly. Now they will be looking for some kind of a suggestion and a guidance, and here the travel operator comes into the picture. So a traveler operator is a very important person and he has to communicate SOPs. SOPs will be there in any case and best practices will be there. Everyone will operate, will be executing it also. But we have to educate and distribute it and make the guest aware, which will make the difference.
Okay, thanks, Mohit. Now moving on to Nagendra. Nagendra, can you hear us? I can't see you.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. So how are you planning to come up with the, your strategy?
BHT Hotels is basically truly focusing on reliability, relatively, and then recreation. So our primary focus is to, provide the whatever basic advisories which is issued by the government for the public. So we are going to follow all these parameters in all our hotels strictly, so that our staff should be safe, our guests should be safe, and confidence is something which is required. We are not going to take a single chance, otherwise it is going to ruin the industry, it is going to ruin the brand, it is going to ruin the market. So we are with the industry only, and we will protect all our whatever best we can do, we will surely do that thing to build the confidence and to get back our loyal customers, which is very much required. Now the second point which just Mohit shared, that things will change definitely. Now the market is going to be driven by the offline partners, which is very much sure, and it is already been, something which is a reference which is now comes in the picture. So, travel agents, if the travel agent is confident about your product, about your safety essentials, about your quality, so then only he is going to suggest your hotel to the offline market. So, we have to take care of all these things very seriously if we want to be retained in the business, and if we want our loyal customers should be with us only. So that's my stand for this.
Okay. Thanks, Nagendraji. So I think we are already overshooting time. Still, I have one question left before we take some questions from the audience as well. Now, there's one point which was, being discussed lately, previously. Every, other travel company was on the same points which we were hearing from them. That was, safeguarding the interest of travel companies. So by that mean that there are some queries from corporates. A travel agent is pitching in, then there is a hotel company, hotel brand which is directly pitching to the corporate, and so safeguarding the interest in terms of getting commissions, or maybe directly hitting the business through the corporate. So do you think will there be any changes in that pattern as well? So first I'll start with Amit on this. Amit, if you can share something on this same subject.
See, Sachin, this has always been an issue. Like this is another factor why domestic MICE has taken a backstay slightly. Like most of the hotel chains have been approaching the corporates directly. So, like everybody says, outbound tour operators or the MICE operators don't want to sell domestic MICE or domestic tours. This is one of the reasons behind that. Because when you approach a corporate with a product, okay, sir, I'm giving you this product, this is a place. Most of the corporates say, oh, we already have a tie-up with this and we have a contracted rate, and these guys have already approached us for this event. So I don't know where and how that's going to be stopped. I'm sure not me. Most of the guys who have been in MICE, doing outbound MICE, will vouch for this. Everybody must have faced this situation at one or the other time. So, like, once we out of it, this time, this 3, 4, 5 months, what all of us have been going through, this should give us a lesson to all of us to work together as a team, because somehow down the line, we are cutting each other's route. Either hotels approaching the corporate clients directly, or maybe another tour operator cutting the rates or cutting their margins, playing with their margins, underquoting. So somewhere down the line, we have to have a understanding between all of us, let it be the industry partners or the industry players, that we have to play a fair game when we are back into the industry again. Like once we are back on our foot after this pandemic, we have to be a bit fair. So that is one thing which everybody should think about. And this is the time. This is the time we can actually discuss it out. We can dent it out. We can just clean our systems. So I don't know how many of you will agree to this, but this is what it is, which everybody faces at one or the other point. So there are strategies at place after pandemic. Everybody is working on that. Like if you talk about the travel tour operators or the MICE planners, we have been talking about being a travel advisor, but we have never advised. We have always advised the destination. We are making more money. Now this is the time to show your real role, to get advisory from your service providers and then advise your clients accordingly. to maintain the trust, to gain the trust, to regain the trust. And that's how you come back to the business again.
Okay.
It's not ended here. It's just the beginning. There'll be a lot of challenges when we come back in the action, and all of us have to overcome those challenges together. Maybe the strategy I'm thinking about, maybe I'm talking on a different line. Maybe the strategy I think will work for hotels, or maybe will work for a ground transport agent, or maybe will work for a DMC. So all of us have to collectively think about it, come out and strategize together to come out of it.
Okay. I think Amit, now I'll move to Mr. Anand to share his views on this subject. This is very interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Fairness is a sentiment depending on which side of the line you are. What is fair to you as an operator may not be fair to me, and what is fair to me as a hotelier may not be fair to you. So I think fairness is a very relative thing. What I do honestly believe in is that in times of crisis, the true character of individuals and the true character of companies is shown then. In normal times, everybody is going hunky-dory. Now is the time to test the mettle of companies and of individuals. Do they really believe in, and do they really stand by what they say? Having said that, I think it would be futile to think that in these times, either a hotelier can make it on his own or a travel agent can make it on his own. It will not happen. So by force of the situation, wisdom is in coming together. Whether we stay together after 8 months, that's a different story. That time always tells, and time is the best judge for anything. I don't think we can sit in judgment today and say 8 mahine baad aise hoga. Let's talk of today. And I think today all hands must come on the deck together. We have to portray one front to the end customer, one front of trust, of confidence, and whatever else we want to do. You will always have this issue, which I've been hearing for donkey's years now, this tussle between travel agent and hotelier about the OTAs. Now, OTAs are here to stay. Let us please not fight something you cannot win against. That is the reality of life. That is the reality of business going forward. And I say that very openly. At the same time, I maintain that I don't want to spoil my relationship with you as a travel agent because of the OTAs. There will always be an issue if my rooms are going empty. What do? I cannot wait for you to come and fill them up for me, because you won't. When I drop the price, you come and accuse me of dropping prices. So this is a story which will carry on forever. Let's not go there. This is unresolvable, honestly. But yes, in times like these, it is my earnest request to our hotel industry colleagues that please, let's not undercut the travel agent because you want to do a direct deal. I think that's not going to get anywhere. In the end, the only winner in this is the client. The hotel loses and the travel agent loses. And in the shopping, the only winner which comes out is the client. So please, in times like this, at least for the next 6 to 10 months, while this crisis lasts, let us show solidarity, let us show unity. And I think these are very easily resolvable things. If a client comes to me directly, but he's your client and you can prove to me that he's your client, I just make the rate commissionable to you, whatever I've quoted to the client. I don't think there should be any issue of trying to make the extra buck when you should. Yeah. So that's my take on this, really.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Moving on to Mr. Mohapatra. Mr. Mohapatra, what is your take on this? Travel agents.
The time has come. Basically, you say I fully agree with Amit. It is time for us to clean our system. And how do we do it? We'll have to be really united at this point of time. The entire travel and tourism fraternity, hotel industry, travel and tourism fraternity has to be united. Otherwise, it is going to be very difficult to survive. In the sense, in terms of parity, you see, the online and offline travel agent has to have some policies and some procedure come in place so that there are no fighting, no arguments in between. Okay. So all those guidelines has to be very clearly followed, and this is the time wherein we can actually come up with all those guidelines. Otherwise, it is going to be very difficult for the small travel agent to survive. And I'm sure the hotel industry will come forward if in case with those proper guidelines, if in case we write to FHRI or HAI. So definitely there is some outcome which is going to come up. And this is the right time. We need to clean our system and we need to put our procedure and system well in line.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. So, Mohit, what is your take on the same?
See, there is never an end to a challenge. So challenges will remain. but I feel they will get reduced in future to come. So in the beginning, I told you about this domestic cautious traveler. So he will be looking for guidance and suggestions more. So what I feel is that domestic operators will be more than a consultant now. They will be health consultants now. So you will be doing a health consultancy. So you have to safeguard your own interest by your own self. See, before COVID-19 also, we were doing business with our domestic tour operators. There were rate parities before that as well. In fact, domestic tourism has not increased overnight or will not increase overnight. If you see past 2 years, inbound has always shown a dip and domestic is growing. With the online portals, with this rate parity, I can tell you so many operators, when we go directly to a corporate, the corporate himself says, we don't want to work with you directly, we want to go through a travel agent. That is called trust. And this new traveler will be loyal also with you because he will not shift. People don't change health consultants every day. So he will be loyal with you. You don't have to retain a customer because we will get the business only through tools which are there to some extent. But at the end of the day, what I feel is challenges will remain, but they will be reduced. And domestic tour operator will get a lot of opportunities in this market with the reduced challenges which he was facing earlier, because he will get a share of online portals as well this time. So like I tell you, Fern Hotels, we are launching or reopening 80 new hotels with new SOPs. So now these hotels which we are planning to reopen will not be with a press launch this time. We are looking at tour operators to launch these 80 new hotels. So we are actually thinking of these SOPs which we discussed, and we want to work together with all of you and sit together, consolidate and see a solution to it, how we can do it rather than, getting into the rate parity and all. Pricing will not be an issue and it will not be a challenge in next 6 months or a year to come.
Okay, thank you, Mohit. So last take from Nagendra on the same issue. Over to you, Nagendra.
So we have to understand. Yeah, we have to understand this module, which is a channel module. So where business will surely come from either from the offline, either from the online, but the dependency is more over into the offline now, because the consultant role, which Mohit just said. So we have to understand that the consultancy model will be there, where people will get the reference, where people will push that this property is good. They are maintaining all the procedures, so you can use this property for the business purpose. Now the transparency, which is very much important with the travel partners to save the interest of their business also. So transparency comes with the proper communication. It comes with the proper knowledge sharing. So where we can share that whatever the concern is there, we can connect on every fortnightly or every 15 days. So we can discuss these things, which can easily be done, because nowadays challenge is to get the business, and we need the support for every channel. So that is something which is a need of our. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Nagendra. So I think most of the questions are covered, which were designed by us. So I can allow me to take some questions on behalf of audience. Can I do that? Request to all panelists.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So one question is there from Mr. Pratyush Kumar, that he has a question from all panel here, that we have all hotelier here. 50% of the guests will be arriving with a chauffeur. So as a hotel industry, are we looking for them, or we are looking only at our guests? So I think he wants to say that everybody will be getting a chauffeur along.
The voice is not clear, Sachin.
Okay, let me repeat this again. So the question is, as there will be more driving holidays, so 50% of the guests will arrive with a chauffeur. So as a hotel industry, are you looking for them, or you are looking only for the guest? So, I mean,
we are looking for everyone.
So you want to answer this, like from the hotel side?
Yes, from the hotel side.
So definitely that's the service which all the hotels, not all, but mostly hotels provide this kind of facilities to their travelers, where they have the dormitory which is available at the hotel. And also the other factor is basically now after this COVID is to get that service, proper service to the people who are bringing the customer to us also. So definitely we will be there to cater that service also.
Okay, thank you. So there's one question
See,
for
we
Mr.
will be open to.
Please, Mohit, continue.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mohit,
Yes,
please,
you are
please.
audible. Yeah.
So we will be open to all guests. It's not that we will be close to some kind of a segment. See, we all are speaking. MICE will not come. MICE will take time. MICE will do that. MICE will be not there in the first 6 months. I will just wanted to share. We got a query in the last week of March for a training session which required 40 rooms in Ranthambore on the 16th of April. So it's not that you never know what kind of segment comes all of a sudden to you. So as a hotelier, we should be open, and I feel we are open to all kind of segments and business. Right.
Sure. Thanks, Mohit. So there's one question specifically mentioned for Mr. Anand. As Mr. Anand mentioned that I think hashtag me time, as far as I remember, that you
Subway
talk.
time,
Yeah. So you're talking about single traveler is fine, man or woman. But what about kids? They are equally locked down. So any plans on that front as well?
Well, of course, I mean, there is going to be a package for the families also, but we just thought that let's think a bit out of the box and try and come up with something which probably activates people. And I think we've just launched it hardly a week ago, and the interest has been huge in this. So how many bookings actually materialize, we'll see. But there would be packages for kids. We are a pet-friendly resort. You can travel with your pet. So yeah, that's part of it. This is just one of the offers we are talking about.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anand. And there's one more question which was raised earlier in the chat box, that from the hotel point of view, how are you going to take this social distancing measure? What would be the right technique for that? So open to all panelists, anyone can take.
So more or less, I think the government will give us some kind of a guidelines on social distancing, and we are looking for reducing our covers in restaurants to the extent we can. We're making few SOPs where social distancing, if you're entering a lift, only 4 people can enter a lift facing the hall. So these kind of activities will be employed, and rest will all come as we go, what I feel.
Okay. So, Mr. Mohapatra, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I agree with Mohit. In fact, you see, there is a complete guideline which has come, because there are some SOPs pre-COVID and there will be SOPs post-COVID. So the entire standard operating procedure for all our resorts have been, we have changed it according to the guidelines of government and the local bodies. So it starts from the guest transport, and from in the end, as you enter in the lobby, as you enter, how do the check-in take place, how do the checkout take place, and what about the allocation of the rooms, what about the selling the covers in the restaurants, what is the guideline for the room service. So all those SOPs have been changed according, keeping in view of the guidelines with what we have got from the central, from the local government and from the local bodies.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. I'll take last 2 questions. Considering the time, also I have to record this session, so heavier the file would be tougher for me. So one question is very raised by many: how to attract your customers? Any quick tips, any promotions, any initiatives which as a hotelier you can plan or you can suggest? Maybe
I feel you focus on the safety measures, focus on selling a package which is like, like this diagnostic people are selling right now to some extent. But I think you speak with hotels, see what they are doing, market it well. It should be cost effective, value for money, it will sell.
Also, just want to add one more point in this. Like, we also have to make the good policies for the senior citizens also, because this is the majorly impact is on the senior citizens, and few of destinations which is called a pilgrimage destination or the spiritual destinations where FIT can go and contribute a good numbers. So there we need to put a proper advisories for the senior citizens also, and that we have to showcase that how much friendly we are towards the business of the for the senior citizens. So that's one thing we can do in our packages.
Okay. And I think Mr. Roy has something to say. Wait a minute.
See, we should encourage the travel trade, the customers to basically travel for short hours in their own vehicle initially before the COVID starts, to encourage them to take out the fear, lowering the chance of infections, coming in touch with the strangers. That should be the one thing. Secondly, the emphasis to maintain the good health of the particular customer. Social distancing is definitely required. So the transportation plays a very important role to and fro destination. People can be transferred. Ensuring the accommodation, keeping in mind, now whether it's 3, 4, 5 star, whichever hotel they're normally taking into it consideration, it should be high standard of cleanliness, sanitization, and ensuring the staff, as well as SOPs is by concern, with having a regular health checkups, proper attire, and gloves and mask also can be added. If you look into it post 26/11, the X-ray machines were added into all the 5-star hotels. That became a need of ours. So looking into these health conditions and the good health of a customer, we should have this basically implemented.
Thanks, Mr. Roy. Want to take a quick bite from Mr. Anand on the same. If you can disclose some of your strategies for everyone.
Well, I think strategy will change every month. It will be wrong to say that I have a strategy in place for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. My initial strategy is very clear, and some people will call it a price war. Some people will call it dumping of rates. I am going to do that in the initial month of June, because I need to get my cash flow going. I have a responsibility towards my staff, and that can only happen if I have some money coming into my business. So it can be termed whatever, but we are going to be very, very aggressive on the pricing front and adding, because our brand does stand for certain value. And I think the positioning of the brand will be that what you couldn't pay, what you couldn't probably afford earlier, afford is the wrong word to use, but you didn't want to spend that much money on staying with us. I would see our pricing going down by 50%, honestly, in the first 1 or 2 months of lockdown coming up. We are going to go very strong on driving holidays. That's our very clear focus. We actually curated packages now, which are being called driving holidays, and we are pushing them in the key source markets, because I think, like I said earlier, driving holidays are the only ones which will really take off to begin with. So earlier on, people thought, okay, I want to drive to a destination between 5 to 6 hours. I think that is going to change. People will not mind driving 7, 8, up to 9 hours also. So I think the destinations which are there further away from source markets will also gain from this. So yeah, very aggressive pricing. We will change our strategy every month depending on how the business picks up. We will focus on driving holidays. We will segment, and we are not just going to do family holidays. We're going to look at pet-friendly holidays. We're going to look at single holidays. Somebody just mentioned senior citizen holidays. So you really have to tackle all of that to get going. We are not much in the corporate business. Ours is basically 100% leisure. So our whole thought process is going to be really towards the leisure market.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. So these were from the hotel perspective. Want to take a quick reaction from Mr. Amit Chaudhary. That okay, you got to hear what hotels are planning to do. What is your plannings? What are you going to plan?
See, from a MICE planner or a travel agent point of view, I would say the best strategy is to be in touch with your clients on a regular basis and keep on advising them based on the advisory you will be getting from all the hotels or your DMCs or your airlines. So you have to keep them updated and you have to advise them right. Like it's not like before, like wherever you are making more money, you are always planning to sell that product. But this time you have to be sure what you are selling to your customer. Because if you do one mistake, you will lose your client forever. So this is the time for you to show your loyalty to your customer. Then only you can retain the loyalty of the customer. And that's only you can motivate them to travel again.
Okay, thank you, Amit. So moving on to the last question for the session, someone raised, I don't know how relevant it is, but I'm sure from the hotel perspective, it would be good to answer that. That as far as the central air conditioning is concerned in hotels, so as per the government directive, this is considered to be unsafe. So how hotels are going to act on the same situation? So open to all hotelier
Uh,
panelists.
we need to understand the advisory which is issued by the ICMR for the air conditioning process. That is being done like there should be a proper exhaust system working in that air condition. Then only it's a safe. Otherwise, if there is no exhaust is not working, then it's a concern basically. So I think that is very much sure and understandable for all the hotels to get things done as per the standards, and exhaust should be there. Proper exhausting system should be the working in the air condition. So that will be not a very big thing which is need to be put.
Okay, over to Mr. Mohapatra. Mr. Mohapatra, what is your take on this?
Yeah, we need to wait for the advisory from ICMR, as Nagendra said, and also from the local authorities, how it is going to take place after we open. But as far as our resorts are concerned, so all our resorts are actually like cottage types. Okay, so we have got most of the resort has got the split ACs. So I do not think, in fact, we are talking to the local authorities out here. So they were saying that uh, we are allowed to do that, and also all the hotel rooms has got the fan and proper exhaust system. So I do not think we will have any problem, but still we will wait for the advisories from ICMR and the local governments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mohapatra. Mr. Anand, would you like to say something on this?
Well, all our properties are individual room air conditioning, so we don't have a central air conditioning anywhere because our properties are between 10 and 20 rooms. So it's all individual air conditioning. So I don't think it's an issue for us. But like it is said, we'll see whatever the guidelines are. But we don't have the central air conditioning issue for us to see.
Thanks, Mr. Anand. So Mohit, you have something to say on this?
I think most of the things are covered by all three of them. But I don't feel with 50 degrees temperature, you will be staying in a hotel which is non-AC. So things will come, and let us see how it comes and what will be the advisory.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you. So allow me to take very last question now. What about changing linen, curtains, etc.? How will be sanitization after every checkout?
So let me comment on this. I think this is critical and a very, very valid question. I don't think hotels, at least my size of hotels, the smaller hotels, are capable of doing this in-house. So we as a company have already outsourced this activity to a firm, and there are many firms now who are offering you sanitization facilities. And they will have one staff stationed with us. So after every checkout, so they're going to be done in two ways. One is, let's call it the quick cleaning, which will be done after every checkout. And then there is one which is a full cleaning, which is done once every week. And these are according to internationally laid guidelines. So this will have to be done. My greater fear is that if you are going to start giving masks, and if masks are going to be used, which will be initially, I think, for the first 3, 4, 5 months, by guests and by staff, imagine as an industry how many masks we will be generating for disposal. And I haven't been able to find an answer on this till now as to what is the process for disposing of these masks. And I'm not talking about individual hotels, I'm talking about the industry per se. How will we get rid of those? Because that can actually be a health issue. So I'm still trying to figure out on this one. But yeah, that's something which we will have to sort of see.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Anand. So, anyone else for the last comment before we sign off? Okay, so I think more or less every question is covered. Still, any of the participants have any questions can be emailed to me at sachin@miceaffairs.com. So we'll try to pass it on to our panelists and try to get an answer for you. And I think it was a good session, getting different views on the domestic front. And let me thank all our panelists who have taken out time out of their schedule and give and pass on their knowledge for all the panelists here. So once again, thank you so much, and it's a time to sign off, and
Thank you.
look forward to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank
Sachin,
you.
it was
Thanks,
nicely
Sachin.
done, nicely conducted.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Chief. Bye. Bye, all.